So it's normal for you to feel like you're spinning your wheels in the beginning. It's going to be like that with whatever you do in trading because you're competing with yourself. You have an expectation of yourself, whether you want to admit it or not. You want to see yourself somewhere in the future, whatever that timeline is. You're presenting this as a goal for yourself, and you're manifesting that as your destination. When that destination is going to evolve so many fucking times over the next several years, what you think you're going to be satisfied with is going to change a lot, especially when you start finding consistency and profitability. That shit's going out the window. Forget about it. Like you're going to completely change how you think about yourself, how you're going to live, what you're going to do with money, how you're going to spend it. Like it's all going to change. Because you don't know what it's like to make six figures. You don't know what that feels like. You don't know what it feels like to make seven figures. You don't have that. You don't know what that feels like. But you also don't know what it feels like to lose seven figures. For some of you, that's the end of the fucking world. That's it. I'm never touching this market again. I'm never going to do it again. But that's a lesson that you're going to have to go through. You're going to have to go through the ups and downs of what you think you understand and what you really learn from going through it. But what you fail to realize is there's another party on the other side of their trades. It's a net sum zero game. For every winner, there's a buyer. So the paradigm shift that I had was, okay, when I first started, I was absolutely residing in that 90% losing crowd. I was there, and I was buying books thinking that shit was going to help me. It was going to change my direction. It was going to create me and put a path in front of me that was going to be the right one. Now, what I failed to understand is if I'm buying that same book, and it's been out there for sale for years before I even started, why isn't it everybody else hasn't figured out what I was going to do, which is follow the rules? And when I stopped buying books, that's when I started learning. When I stopped system hopping and changing my hand of who wants to teach me now, who wants to be the mentor of Michael. When that stopped, and I put my ass in front of the charts and said, okay, I don't know anything. I'm nobody, and I'm at the first step. I'm at zero. What do I want to do? Where is my focus at? Where do I right now, looking at these markets and the opportunities that they present, where do I want to go in this? What can I do with the job that I have? I had a job that I was working. I had to be out in Owings Mills real early in the morning, and the whole workday was really about 12 and a half, 13 hours. So I couldn't be in front of the charts to trade live because I would be all over Baltimore City and Baltimore County filling up vending machines, fixing coffee machines. And even on the way home, I would probably have to be stopping and fixing a machine that someone would call and say, hey, something didn't work. And my boss at the time, Glenn, would say, this is I need you to do this. And that's it. And so I can't go home and do what I want to do when I'm off. I'm stopping and doing a service call. So I had to come up with a way of determining what the hell it is I'm going to do, which was very difficult for me because I felt like if I could sit in front of the charts and look at 1 hour charts real time, I would be able to do very, very well. But I couldn't have real time charts while I was driving around in a step van. So the next best thing for me was to get some kind of quote device. So that way I had to come up with a way of determining where I want to be a buyer because I wasn't a short seller in the beginning. I didn't understand short selling. I was afraid of it. And it didn't make any sense. How can you sell something you don't own and make money, right? It's like, what the hell's that? So I wanted to be a buyer only. So my motto was buy model only. And what was the driving force behind the decisions that made me a buyer? I was looking at a 9 and 18 exponential moving average on a daily chart. If the 9-day moving average, now I don't do this now, folks, so don't take this as the gospel, okay? But I'm just telling you how we have changed, okay? We've definitely evolved. But when I first started, it was a 9 EMA exponential and a 18-day exponential moving average on the daily chart. And I had a 50-day moving average that was just a simple, not even exponential. So what I wanted to see was that 50-day sloping up. I don't care how, if it was a gradual slope, if it was higher than it was 20 days ago, to me, I'm looking for longs. But that doesn't give me the buy yet. I wanted to see the 9-day being above the EMA. I'm sorry, the 9 EMA above the 18-day EMA. But it can't just cross it. I can't do that. I have to wait for it to cross. Then it has to spend at least 3 days above the 18-day. So that in my mind, momentum is absolutely going long. Now, I did not get the best entries. I didn't catch the lows. I was afraid of trying to do that because Larry Williams said, don't go in trying to catch falling daggers. So he was my mentor. So I said, fuck that. I ain't going in and doing that. I'm going to wait for it to be moving and I'll get in sync with it then. How did I do that? What was my entry mechanism? In the evening time, when I finally found my way home, did my exercising, and then ate and then showered, I would spend all night long, sometimes going to work, doing that same schedule with less than 3 hours sleep sometimes. Oh, come on. I'm telling you, you think I'm an insomniac now. I don't require a lot of sleep. I don't know why people think they got to be sleeping their whole fucking life away, but 8 hours sleep to me, you're wasting it. You're wasting it. You would probably do so much better if you get to a point where you can not have to have a job. Do small sessions in sleep. Like I do 2 4-hour sessions. They're broken up. And then I catnap in between when I can. I get so much shit done. That's why some of you like, do you ever sleep? Yeah, I sleep. I schedule sleep. But I don't have the same cares of the world like you do. Like you worry about losing your job. You worry about making sure your kids have your college funds. You worry about how you're going to put food on your table because your job may not require you anymore and make you redundant. So I don't have those fears. And when you don't have those fears, you're energized because that shit's like a vampire. It sucks the life out of you. And it's difficult. It's so hard in the beginning doing this because you have all those real world cares of the world. They're real. You're not exaggerating it. Believe me, I experienced all that stuff. But for me, the desire to get the fuck out of that shit was more than any of the fear. I had to do this because I couldn't exist living a mundane existence. I can't do that. I'm not wired for that. So I had to go in and look at 1-hour charts in the evening on end of day data. That means this is when it wasn't even real time. I was downloading my data using Metastock. That was the platform I used for my charting. Metastock was a charting package, kind of like TradeStation or Supercharts. Supercharts isn't a thing anymore, I'm thinking. TradeStation's still around. They've evolved into a broker. But Metastock was my joint. That was my weapon. And I thought I had everything figured out with that shit. And in the beginning, I had every indicator you could put on a chart, and you couldn't see my candles. Well, I didn't have candlesticks in the beginning. It was open, high, low, and close. But you couldn't even see price. I didn't give a shit because the indicators, I thought that they were the trick. That was the thing. Don't look at price. That's the distraction, right? When in fact, it's the indicator that's the distraction. Okay, and that's why I thumb my nose at that shit, because I fell victim to all that stuff. And yes, there is absolutely a way to use indicators and use my content and make money. Absolutely, you can. But the problem is you end up falling into this trap. And yes, I'm getting to the point about what I was looking for on the hourly chart. Settle the hell down. But you get caught up in this rat race of finding out what indicators you want to have, what their settings are supposed to be, and which ones are better at doing what. So there's all kinds of books written about, and if you buy 12 different books about indicators, rarely will they agree on the settings. Rarely will they agree on how to use them and when to apply them. But they have an ability to go back in time and find the cherry-picked examples of where the shit worked perfectly. But then when you go out there and you try to do it, you're wrecked. I went through that shit for years, convincing myself every single time that I failed at doing it. It was just, okay, it's the right indicator, but this guy doesn't have the right settings. I'm going to buy another book or another course, another DVD, okay, that talks about it. And they will give me the part that this guy left out. And it never worked like that. It never fucking worked. So I was like, there's so many holes in this industry, so many opportunity for people that would know how to do something. Why don't they come out here and simply just produce something that works? Like, it removes all the bullshit, cuts right down to the bone and says, okay, no fluff, no indicator. This is what price is going to do. And I don't give a shit if you believe it or not, because this is how it's going to be. And I said, I can't find it. I'm looking around. I can't find anybody able to do that. So I'm going to be that. That was my passion. I'm going to fill all the potholes in this industry where the shit doesn't work. I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to give you something that works. Not just it works okay. It is absolutely precise. Down to when you can expect it to form. What days, what months, what markets, what direction, what time. All that shit was my passion.